Good morrow, scholars. Whoops. Why do I do this? Okay. Welcome to another new little series. I hope you guys will enjoy it. I enjoyed Shiver. I'm going to go look for the rest of the series. Hopefully it's finished by now, because it's been a long time since we got this book. Anyway, this was another suggestion. My mom actually suggested Shiver. And this one is from my sister. I figured since we had the books and I don't have time to go get any new ones from the store, try that and see what you guys thought. This is one of my sister's favorite book series, so maybe it'll give us something to talk about finally. It's called Witch and Wizard by James Patterson. Let's see. Should I read some... little bit of backstory, like we did for the last one. Mostly because, like Shiver, a lot of the chapters are surprisingly short. For instance, there's about 100 chapters in here. It's overwhelming. A city's worth of angry faces staring up at me like I'm a wicked criminal. The stadium is filled past capacity. Hundreds of thousands of curious, uncaring, or at least indifferent faces. And there are no moist eyes, much less tears. No words of protest. No stomping feet, no fists raised in solidarity. In fact, as the countdown ticker flashes on to the giant video screens, it's looking to me to be my family's last day. I see my brother, Whit, W-H-I-T, wondering if there's some last-minute way out of this. I see my mother crying quietly for Whit and me. I see my father, stooped with resignation, but smiling at me and my brother, trying to remind us that there's no point being miserable in our last moments on this planet. But I'm getting ahead of myself. There's a lot to cover before we get to the details of our public execution, so let's go back a bit. Alrighty. Little bit of a forward, I suppose. I believe in aristocracy. Sorry. Not an aristocracy of power based upon rank and influence, but an aristocracy of the sensitive, the considerate, and the plucky. Its members are to be found in all nations and classes, and all through the ages, and there is a secret understanding between them when they meet. They represent the true human tradition, the one permanent victory of our queer race over cruelty and chaos. E.M. Forster from Two Cheers for Democracy. Prologue. You're not in Kansas anymore. Whistie. It's overwhelming. A city's worth of angry faces staring at me like I'm a wicked criminal, which, I promise you, I'm not. The stadium is filled to capacity, past capacity. People are standing in the aisles, the stairwells, on the concrete ramparts, and a few extra thousand are cramped up on the playing field. There are no football teams here today. They wouldn't be able to get out of the locker room tunnels if they tried. This total abomination is being broadcast on TV and the internet too. All the useless magazines are here, and the useless newspapers. Yep, I see a cameraman in the elevated roosts at intervals around the stadium. There's even one of those remote-controlled cameras that runs around the wires above the field. There it is, hovering just in front of the stage, bobbing slightly in the breeze. So there are undoubtedly millions more eyes watching than I can see, but it's the ones here in the stadium that are breaking my heart. To be confronted with tens, maybe even hundreds of thousands of curious, uncaring, or at least indifferent faces, talk about frightening. And there are no moist eyes. Never mind tears, no words of protest, no stomping feet, no fists raised in solidarity. I guess I didn't need to read the back of the book. No inkling that anybody's even thinking of surging forward, breaking through the security cordon. Why did I say it like that? Anyway, and carrying my family to safety. Clearly, this is not a good day for us all goods. In fact, as the countdown ticker flashes on the giant video screens at either end of the stadium, it's looking like this will be our last day. It's a point driven home by the very tall, bald man up in the tower they've erected midfield. He looks like a cross between a Supreme Court Chief Justice and Ming the Merciless, I know who he is. I've actually met him. He's the one who is the one. Directly behind his oneness is a huge NO banner. The New Order. Oh dear. And then the crowd begins to chant, almost sing. The one who is the one. The one who is the one. Imperiously, the one raises his hand, and his hooded lackeys on the stage push us forward, at least as far as the ropes around our necks will allow. Ugh. I see my brother, Whit, handsome and brave, looking down at the platform mechanism, calculating if there's any way to jam it, some means of keeping it from unlatching and dropping us to our neck-snapping deaths, wondering if there's a last-minute way out of this. I see my mother crying quietly, not for herself, of course, but for Whit and me. I see my father, his tall frame stooped with resignation, smiling at me and my brother, trying to keep our spirits up, reminding us that there's no point in being miserable in our last moments on this planet. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm supposed to be providing an introduction here, not the details of a public execution. So let's go back a bit. Book 1. No crime, just punishment. Let's see. By order of the New Order, and the great wind, the one who is the one, let it be known that as of now, this moment, or 12 o'clock midnight, whichever shall arrive first, following the swift triumph of the order of the ones who protect, who have obliterated the blind and dumb forces of passivity and complacency plaguing the world, all citizens must, shall, and will abide by these 3 orders for order. All behaviors not in keeping with NO law, logic, order, and science, including but not limited to theology, philosophy, and in particular the creative and dark arts, etc., are hereby abolished. All persons under 18 years of age will be evaluated for orderliness and must comply with prescribed corrective actions. The one who is the one grants, appoints, decides, seizes, and executes at will. All not complying shall be seized and or executed, as declared to the one who writes decrees by the one who is the one. Well, what an introduction that was. Anyway, Chapter 1. Whit. Sometimes you wake up, and the world is just plain different. The noise of a circling helicopter is what made me open my eyes. A cold blue-white light forced its way through the blinds and flooded the living room, almost like it was day. But it wasn't. I peered at the clock on the DVD player through blurry eyes. 2:10 a.m. I became aware of a steady drub, 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 like the sound of a heavy heartbeat. Throbbing, pressing in, getting closer. What's going on? I staggered to the window, forcing my body back to life after 2 hours of being passed out on the sofa, and peeked through the slats. And then I stepped back and rubbed my eyes, hard, because there was no way I'd seen what I'd seen, and there was no way I'd heard what I'd heard. Was it really the steady, relentless footfall of hundreds of soldiers marching on my street in perfect unison? The road wasn't close enough to the center of town to be on any holiday parade routes, much less to have armed men in combat fatigues coursing down it in the dead of night. I shook my head and bounced up and down a few times, kind of like I do in my warm-ups. Wake up, Whit. I slapped myself for good measure, and then I looked down again. There they were. Soldiers marching down our street, hundreds of them, clear as day, made visible by a half-dozen truck-mounted spotlights. Just one thought was running laps inside my head. This can't be happening. This can't be happening. This can't be happening. Then I remembered the elections, the new government, the ravings of my parents about the trouble the country was in. We're like this close to this in the U.S., it seems. Let's see. The special broadcasts on TV, the political petitions my classmates were circulating online, the heated debates between teachers at school, none of it meant anything to me until that second. And before I could piece it all together, the vanguard of the formation stopped in front of my house. Almost faster than I could comprehend, 2 armed squads detached themselves from the phalanx, and sprinted across the lawn like commandos, one running around the back of the house, the other taking position in front. I jumped away from the window. I could tell they weren't here to protect me and my family. I had to warn Mom, Dad, Whistie, but just as I started to yell, the front door was knocked off its hinges. See what I mean about short chapters? Chapter 2, Whistie. It's quite hideous to get kidnapped in the dead of night, right inside your own home. It went something like this. I woke up to the chaotic crashing of overturning furniture, quickly followed by the sounds of shattering glass. Possibly some of Mom's china. That'd be so sad. I had this one friend, let's call him Dan. When he got married, his wife... Actually, before they got married, his fiancée, I suppose, told him to throw out all of his mother's china. Not even give it away, throw it all out. And it's upsetting to know about that, considering how much I knew he loved his mother, and how devastated he was after she died, and the fact that she would make him do that. And that he would go along with it, no less. Anyway, that's enough depression. Oh no, Whit, I thought, shaking my head sleepily. My older brother had grown 4 inches and gained 30 pounds of muscle in the past year, which made him the biggest and fastest quarterback around, and I must say the most intimidating player on our regional high school's undefeated football team. Off the playing field, though, Whit could be about as clumsy as your average bear. If your average bear were hopped up on a case of Red Bull and full of himself because he could bench press 275, and every girl in school thought he was the hunk of all hunks. I mean, that's a decent amount of weight. Well, I guess, high school. Although I do know one guy who could do like 400. Anyway, that's not important. I rolled over and pulled my pillow around my head. Even before the drinking started, Whit couldn't walk through our house without knocking something over. Total bull in a china shop syndrome. That wasn't the real problem tonight, I knew, because 3 months ago his girlfriend, Celia, had literally vanished without a trace, and by now everyone was thinking she probably would never come back. Her parents were totally messed up about it, and so was Whit. To be honest, so was I. Celia is very pretty, smart, not conceited at all. She's a totally cool girl, even though she has money. Celia's father owns the luxury car dealership in town, and her mom is a former beauty queen. I couldn't believe something like that would happen to someone like Celia. I heard my parents' bedroom door open and snuggled back down into my cozy, flannel-sheeted bed. Next came Dad's booming voice, and he was as angry as I'd ever heard him. "This can't be happening. You have no right to be here. Leave our house now." I bolted upright, wide awake. Then came more crashing sounds, and I thought I heard someone moan in pain. Had Whit fallen and cracked his head? Had my dad been hurt? "Geez Louise," I thought, scrambling out of bed. "I'm coming, Dad. Are you right? Dad!" And then the nightmare to start a lifetime of nightmares truly began. I gasped as my bedroom door crashed open. 2 hulking men in dark gray uniforms burst into my room, glaring at me as if I were a fugitive terrorist cell operative. "It's her, Wisteria Allgood," one said, and a bright light... And a light bright enough to illuminate an airplane hangar obliterated the darkness. I tried to shield my eyes as my heart kicked into overdrive. "Who are you?" I asked. "What are you doing in my freaking bedroom?" "That's not important. I think what's important is that why are they taking you?" Anyway, Chapter 3, Whistie. "Be extremely careful with her," one of the humongous men cautioned. They looked like Special Forces operatives with giant white numbers on their uniforms. "You know she can." The other nodded, glancing around my room nervously. "You," he snapped harshly, "come with us. We're from the New Order. Move 1 step out of line and we'll punish you severely." I stared at him, my head spinning. The New Order? These weren't ordinary policemen or EMS personnel. I stammered. "I need to put some clothes on. Can I have a little privacy?" "Shut up," the first commando guy barked. "Grab her and protect yourself. She's dangerous. All of them are." "No, stop. Don't you dare," I screamed. "Dad! Mom! Whit!" Then it hit me like a runaway tractor-trailer on ice. This was what happened to Celia, wasn't it? Oh no. Cold sweat beaded on the back of my neck. I need to get out of here, I thought desperately. Somehow, some way, I need to disappear. Chapter 4. Whistie. The seriously muscle-bound men in gray suddenly froze, their block-like heads whipping back and forth like puppets on strings. Where is she? She's gone. Vanished. Where'd she go? One said, his voice hoarse and panicky. They shone flashlights around the room. One of them dropped to his knees and searched under my bed. The other rushed over to look in my closet. Where'd I go? Were these guys totally insane? I was right here. What was going on? Maybe they were trying to trick me into running for it so they had an excuse to use force. Or maybe they were escapees from an asylum who had come to get me the way they'd come to get poor Celia. Whistie! Mom's anxious shout from the hallway pierced the fog that had invaded my brain. Run away, sweetheart! Mom! I shrieked. The two guys blinked and stepped back in surprise. There she is. Grab her. She's right there. Quick, before she disappears again. Big, klutzy hands grabbed my arms and legs, and then my head. Let me go, I screamed, kicking and struggling. Let me go! But their grasp was like steel as they dragged me down the hall to the family room and dumped me on the floor like a sack of trash. I quickly scrambled to my feet, more floodlights whiting out my vision. Then I heard Whit shouting as he was thrown onto the living room floor next to me. Whit, what's going on? Who are these monsters? Whistie, he gasped, coherently enough. You okay? No, I almost tried, but I wouldn't, absolutely refused to let them see me wuss out. Every awful true crime movie I'd ever seen flashed through my head, and my stomach heaved. I nestled close to my brother, who took my hand in his and squeezed. Suddenly the floodlights turned off, leaving us blinking and shaking. Mom? Whit shouted. Dad? If my brother hadn't been stone-cold sober already, he sure was now. I don't drink. I gasped. My parents were standing there, still in their rumpled pajamas, but held from behind like they were dangerous criminals. Sure, we lived on the wrong side of the tracks, but no one in our family had ever been in trouble before. Not that I knew of, anyway. Chapter 5. Whistie. One of the most terrifying things in the world you can never hope to see is your parents, wide-eyed, helpless, and truly scared out of their wits. My parents thought they could protect us from anything. They were different from other parents, so smart, gentle, accepting, knowing, and I could tell at this moment that they knew something Whit and I didn't. They know what is going on, and they're terrified of it, whatever it is. Mom? I asked, staring hard into her eyes, trying to get any message I could, any signal about what I should do now. As I looked at Mom, I had a flash, a collage of memories. She and Dad saying stuff like, "You and Whit are special, honey. Really special. Sometimes people are afraid of those who are different. Being afraid makes them angry and unreasonable." Donald Trump. In case you didn't hear me, I said Donald Trump. But all parents thought their kids were special, right? I mean, you're really special, Whistie, Mom had said once, taking my chin in her palm. Pay attention, dear. Then 3 more figures stepped forward from the shadows. 2 of them had guns on their belts. This was really getting out of hand. Guns? Soldiers in our house? In a free country? In the middle of the night? A school night, even. Well, at least she has her priorities. Let's see. Where was I? Wisteria Allgood? As they moved into the light, I saw 2 men, and Byron Swain? Byron was a kid from my high school, a year older than I, and a year younger than Whit. As far as I knew, we both hated his guts. Everyone did. What are you doing here, Swain? Whit snarled. Get out of our house. It felt like mine. Never mind. Byron. It was like his parents knew he'd turn out to be a snot, so they named him appropriately. Yeah? Make me. Byron said to Whit. Then he gave a smarmy, oily smile, vividly bringing to life all the times I'd seen him in school and thought, what a total butt. He had slicked back brown hair, perfectly combed, and cold hazel eyes, like an iguana's. The one time Iggy isn't staring at me. So this jerk extraordinaire was flanked by 2 commandos in dark uniforms, shiny black boots that came above their knees, and metal helmets. The entire world was turning upside down, with me in my ridiculous pink kitty pajamas. That's hilarious. What are you doing here? Why did I switch both of their voices? What are you doing here? I echoed Whit. Wisteria, all good. Byron, monotone like a bailiff, and pulled out an actual scroll of official-looking paper. The new order is taking you into custody until your trial. You are hereby accused of being a witch. My jaw dropped. A witch? Are you nuts? I shrieked. And I think I'll go ahead and end it here, because 5 seems like a good number to stop on. Okay, so remember, Chapter 6 for both of them. What'd you guys think? That's kind of interesting. Don't you dare. He dared. Anyway. I'm sure you noticed that this isn't the same shirt I was wearing in the last video. I'm about to go running. So I put on all red. And I figured, why not wear a Flash t-shirt? I need to get out of the house, get some exercise. Need to work on my cardio. Anyway, so Witch and Wizard, James Patterson. I'm interested in it. It seems like a really interesting story. It really does. I'm speaking terrible English. I'm not sure if I enjoy the short chapters and the somewhat, I guess, lower level reading, but it seems a little easier on me. Perhaps I should have started with these books to kind of get used to the sheer volume of the books that I normally read in a speaking kind of way. Let me know your thoughts and any books you'd like to see be read. Iggy! Anyway, sorry that this one's so much shorter, but I'm kind of tired as it is, and I'm hungry again, and like I said, I need to go with the thing. Anyway, until next time, goodbye everybody, and I hope I get around to reading everybody's book that they want read. Wish me luck.